Fred Mangol, Captain, U.S. Navy, retired. Well, when I came back from there, I had orders to National War College, turned it down, went back to Naval War College again, and spent a year at the Naval War College, and I went to the Pentagon, and I was the maritime analyst in plans and policy, in Op 90, great job, and so I had all the ships and aircraft, and I was in that job for about a year, and then I was hauled up to Op 090, where I became the financial management aide to Red Dog Davis, who was the vice admiral for that whole area, and that was a wonderful man to work for. I really enjoyed it, and I worked for him for about, I don't know, about 6 months, and then Admiral Fine came over from the budget office, and Admiral Fine said, "Would you please come up and become my deputy?" And so I became the deputy budget officer of the Navy, which is a great job, and one of the 2 jobs in the Navy that came, it made me the senior captain of the United States Navy, and came with extra pay. There's only 2 jobs in the Navy at the captain's level that come with extra pay. One is the deputy BUMED, and the other one is the deputy budget officer of the Navy. Wonderful hours, about 7 o'clock in the morning until about 9 o'clock at night, every day. And you have fiduciary responsibility at that time for about $89 billion. And you meet some interesting people. I had a wonderful secretary, and no one could get to me except for one person without going through her. I would always know who was calling me except for one person, who had her so bamboozled that he could get to me, and I would pick up the phone and all I would hear is, "Young man, what have you done today?" And I would know that it was Admiral Rickover. What can I tell you? But it was a great job, and I was in that job for 2.5 years, and I worked for Admiral Fine and 2 other admirals, but it was a wonderful job. And even though I was a captain, and we had another admiral within who was in our organization, if the admiral who was the budget officer left, I became the second command, because that's the way it had been set up, with the captain being the deputy. But believe me, if anything serious had to be done, I always went and talked to the other admiral first. I thought that was at least political and certainly good, made common sense too. It was an interesting job. Unlike the other services, the budget job in the Navy is different. In the other services, you have a budget hat under the military side, and then you have a separate budget office under the civilian secretary. In the Navy, it's both. The budget officer serves both the CNO and the Secretary of the Navy. It's just one person. Secondly, in the other 2 services, you have a liaison office for the service that serves all parts of Congress, and that takes care of the service period. In the Navy, the budget office handles the appropriation committees of Congress, and the liaison office for the Navy handles the rest of Congress, but not the appropriation committees. Which makes sense, because the appropriation committees is where the budget is handled. So that was always interesting, and so we had a direct link with Congress that we work with on the budget. A lot of detail. We're responsible for about 3,300 programs and a lot of money, a lot of detail. I served in that job for 2.5 years. When it was time to leave, I realized that things had changed dramatically. In order to get a cruise, they wanted me to go to a cruiser, and I was looking forward to that. But before I could go to the cruiser, Mr. Rickover, Admiral Rickover, had made it required that you went to out to Idaho Falls and went through his program for a year. Then, before I could go to the cruiser, then I would have to go to Dam Neck for 6 months. So that meant for a year and a half I'd be away from my family. Then I would go to the destroyer, the cruiser, and I was looking at 2 deployments in a year and a half there. My son was entering his sophomore year in college, so it meant that I would be gone for 30 out of 36 months. And when I came back, basically, my son would be gone. He'd be in college. And gosh, I've been gone so much during my naval career, and I've worked so hard in 2.5 years as deputy budget director. Wow, I was giving up a lot. And my wife said, I'm not moving again. You know, get a job in Norfolk, because I'm not moving. I'm staying right here. So one thing led to another, and the Bupers could not find it in their heart to give me a job, a cruiser in Norfolk. So I finally said, if you can't do that, I'm leaving. And that's when I left the Navy.